for inviting me along. And this is the second time I've been on. The first time, if you plugged in, I was talking about another innovation of ours called My Spira, which is an augmented reality asthma training app for kids, which is doing incredibly well now, and actually launching into the NHS right across the country, I'm really pleased to say. But today I'm going to tell you a little story about another innovation we've been working on for what feels like a lifetime. It's half a lifetime, I guess. It's 5 years. But it's essentially our journey from a concept through to the development, through to fundraising and the commercialization. Which we're Peter and I. Peter is my co-founder and our CEO. I'm the chief operating officer of a company called Orbital Global and VirtTuri. VirtTuri being a spin-out technology from Orbital, and I'll come to that in a minute. So let's just give you. Now I'm going to take you back to 2015. You might remember this guy hit the headlines. I'm sure there's a few guesses as to why, but essentially it came down to him punching his producer, I believe. But I thought I'd just date stamp it so we know what we're talking about here. Now, Peter and I have built a nice little business called Orbital Media. We're very much focused on digital marketing. And one of our clients, and specifically in consumer healthcare, and one of our clients is Infocal. Now, if you've got kids, you probably know the product quite well. It's a colic medical device, essentially, you give to screaming kids in the middle of the night to try and help calm them a little bit. Colic's a horrible thing. But anyway, what we were finding was we were seeing a huge amount of traffic hitting their website in the middle of the night, hitting the brand website, saying, and looking for answers. And to be honest, it was back in 2015, very basic website with an FAQs page, but didn't really do a lot. So we decided to build a little search engine, and we used some open source software called Spring to do this. So we did a bit of mapping as to the most commonly asked questions around colic. And then we found this healthcare professional you see before you, and we gave her the questions in advance and said, right, prepare 30-second answers for these. We put her in a booth, and we recorded her answering all of these questions. And essentially we chopped them all up and built our own little search engine within the website. So you type in a question about colic. If I click to the next one, you can see, can colic cause reflux? These are all the most commonly asked questions. There was about 150 of them. First of all, we shoved them all up on YouTube and optimized them accordingly. And they got about 2 million views without spending a penny in a year. So suddenly the brand became a lot, the brand awareness became really quite special. But secondly, this website, this little engine was working incredibly well. And we had lots of videos on there of people, of this lady showing you how to calm a colicky baby naturally. It wasn't all about the product and what have you, but it was a really interesting experiment for us. And we saw annual sales for the product jump by 7.5%. And thought, well, yeah, there was some other activity going on, but this had accounted for an awful lot. The YouTube stuff, the drive for the knowledge, the patient knowledge was so strong. So Peter and I set ourselves a challenge, and we're always up for a challenge. But how can we scale information delivery in the most visual, accurate, and textual way properly? Okay, how can we create something that delivers information 24/7, really cost effectively, really accurately, and grows in accuracy? And then at this point in time, we had three key parties come into our lives. Firstly, Innovate UK, which was exactly where we started with this conversation. We started with this problem. We talked to Innovate UK and said, look, this is what we want to achieve. We want to scale what we've developed and proven the concept of here very cheaply into something really quite special. So they then suggested we look at knowledge transfer partnerships, which our first knowledge transfer partnership was with the University of Suffolk, and for our My Spira application. The next two, we undertook two more. We haven't done any more than that, but we undertook two more. One with the University of Essex, first of all, and one with Cardiff University. And the beauty of KTPs now is that you can choose any university across the country. So you can choose the strongest data science departments, computer science departments, or whatever department. You can go and handpick whoever you want to work with, which was really a fantastic opportunity. There was some hurdles along the way. as in they don't all work to the same contract, and you have to really be very careful about IP and everything else in those contracts. So just word of warning, quick flag up there. But essentially, Cardiff University were charged with helping us develop an avatar. And this is a very simple, I'll give you an idea of what it looked of what the first renditions looked like, where we took this is a real human, and we took that human we managed to computer generate new lips essentially and have them sort of talk about other things.
And welcome to Coughs, Colds and Flu VirtTuri. I'm Dr. Matt Pickover, a GP, here to answer your questions about coughs, colds and flu. If you have a question, type it into the box or select it from the drop-down menu. Okay, so he is a real human, and this is where we started, but we wanted to kind of scale. We needed to scale information, remember, so we needed to scale. We needed the ability to control what they said and what they say, and that was the grand challenge, if you like. And with the University of Essex, we worked very closely with their computer science department, fantastic team, and we produced essentially a machine learning chatbot. All right, so very, very simple expression there. We then had the core of our idea. We had two fantastic knowledge transfer associates come out of both Essex and Cardiff, and we wanted to protect our idea. And yes, you know, there was a big commitment in terms of cost, but it was really important. This is a long term. We never look at our technology as short term, and I don't believe anyone should, because it's not a quick fix. You've got to keep reading the future, if you like, and understanding where the future is and believing in that, and really, you know, putting your chips on that space. So we took the decision to invest what money we were making out of Orbital into this new idea. And essentially, it was just an idea that we're putting a lot of hope on, if you like, a bit of a gamble. But hey, it's all a gamble. But as long as we were enjoying it, we were prepared to do it. So we teamed up with Burkitt's and IP21 and protected our IP, protected our trademarks. We've got a UK patent, we've got a US patent, we've got EU patents, and looking into other patents too. But that methodology was key to, well, a number of different things really, but primarily fundraising, because you'll find a lot of investors are going to ask you about that, and it's a bit of a debate. It depends which investors you talk to, but from our perspective, it's too important. If your idea is strong enough and you want to protect it, it does help you kind of really believe, because you've invested in this. It does help you really to drive you on, knowing that you've got a patent, you've got something of value here. So we would recommend that. Fast forward 2019, so there's been lots of development going on in the back end. Now, I don't know if anyone recognises this, but this was the first picture of a black hole, believe it or not. There's another fact for you. Again, just another timestamp. So our experience, the last 20 years, Peter and I's experience is in healthcare mainly. So we looked at healthcare and thought, what are the problems in healthcare that our technology could potentially solve? All right, so we've always had a focus on healthcare, but you know, when you first get an idea, your mind runs crazy with, oh, it could do this, it could do political campaigns, it could do everything else. And suddenly you lose a lot of focus. So we said, no, you know, we pulled ourselves back, reined ourselves in a little bit and said, no, what is it about healthcare that we need to fix? And there's a lot of problems with healthcare that we need to fix. And I've just listed a couple here. Primarily, the one we wanted to fix was the poor patient engagement, because if we can fix patient engagement, i.e. people understanding, listening to how they can fix themselves, then essentially there'll be less strain on the primary healthcare system. And ultimately, if people take better care of themselves, they don't get to secondary care necessarily as well. The chances reduce a little bit. So it takes that whole strain out the system, if you like. So we wanted to improve patient engagement, understanding, and recall of critical healthcare information. All right. And we then sort of scratched a little bit further and understood that the full opportunity of the potential in health, if you like. The information is absolutely key, and I'm sure we're all guilty of when you get a little snivel,
using Dr. Google, if you like, and saying, oh, I've got a snivel, and it ends up normally in something terrible that you're going to die in a week's time or something, which is absolute nonsense. So we really want to create a central and very visual space for delivering healthcare information. But you can imagine all of these elements here are absolutely vital and opportunities for giving more information away in a much more visual way. And again, I'm speaking from my own experience, but give me maybe every guy, I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit harsh there, but give a guy an instruction manual. It normally ends up in the bin. I personally need to be shown it visually, or shown how to follow a task visually. I'm a visual person, and then I could do it. I could do it till the cows come home. But that's essentially what the core idea came from. But we got some early iterations with it. We developed it, we deployed it on the Sudocrem website, Infocol website. We've got a pathway into the NHS now. We're working on a Ministry of Justice project and a Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation project, which is all very exciting. We built an app. Well, I believe it's a really kick-ass team. Obviously, Peter's got a lot of experience. We talk about this is one of our KTP associates, Dr. Satish Sankapandi. Very, very intelligent guy. He's head of data science for us. And then we're working with individuals. You might recognise some of these being from around Suffolk, who are quite senior in the NHS over there, but who are really passionate about, and this is the most important thing, who bought into the concept actually 5 years ago when we actually sat down in front of them and said, what do you think? Could this work? We did some very basic research. And these two individuals, Dr. Simon Rudland and Paul Brown, got very, very excited and remain excited about the project, and the fact that they've sat with us and not been paid for 5 years, I think says an awful lot about that. We also built a medical advisory board. Again, some incredible names in there with a lot of contacts and a lot of knowledge, helping us develop out this opportunity. We evolved our brand and mission. We didn't know quite what to call ourselves. What are we? Are we a next generation avatar? We're next generation digital assistant? No, let's pull it right back to healthcare. We're a clinical informatics avatar. Our mission, as I mentioned earlier, to improve health outcomes for millions of people and save billions of pounds via improved delivery and understanding of critical healthcare information. And it's amazing how long it takes you to come up with something so succinct, but we now live by this statement. It's very important to us. We became accountable. So we teamed up with the EHSN, and I suggest that if you're a medical entrepreneur or have some med tech, I would absolutely talk to these guys. They're incredible. They have mentorship and extensive networking opportunities. They're essentially paid by the NHS to find innovation and launch you into the NHS. They've done amazing stuff for us. We work very closely with Innovate UK Edge, and we were selected as one of the 30 UK companies to be placed on the Scale Up program, which again, it's like the Men in Black for Innovate UK, if you like. You get to meet some incredible individuals with an awful lot of experience who can really guide you. We've been listed on the Department of International Trade in their new digital health playbook as one to watch, which we're incredibly proud of, seeing as we haven't actually launched yet. But all these things, and I'm not just saying these just to blow our own trumpets here, but they're all very important. My point is that they're all very important to kind of give you kudos and credibility when trying to commercialize, or fundraise, two things that kind of have to work in tandem with each other. We're working on integrating something called a patient activation measure study, which is NHS gold standard stuff. Very simple to integrate questionnaires into your technology that measures how well patients respond to processes, if you like. We've got some approval from some key industry bodies in consumer healthcare specifically, but again, it just goes to show that to get them on side, it plays a key part. And then we're working with the University of Essex on a standalone clinical study also. So then we come to the funding element. Now, this is where it gets fun and challenging at the same time. And the first thing I would actually do is ask myself, if I did all this again, I'd ask myself, how much do we need the money? And we were lucky enough, because Peter and I have built a very successful business in Orbital, in that could finance our work and our passion up until that point. So we had other sources of income, if you like. We were quite lucky in that regard, but we also tested out the concept in the market, so it did work quite well. But we also, interestingly, another question is, how much do you need and where do you want to spend it? And suddenly ideas of grandeur of, let's just go and raise 10, 20, 30 million, they quickly disappear. I'm sure I don't want to put anyone down for trying to raise that sort of money, but it's the more you want to raise, the harder it becomes, from personal experience. And also you don't necessarily need that money. You'd be giving away too much too early if you're looking at seed round. We went through 10 iterations of our deck, and that was quite painful because we thought we had it right every time. We ended up speaking to so many different types of investor, which I'll talk about in a sec, and each one had a different opinion. And ultimately, it comes down to what you're comfortable saying, what you totally believe in, but also listening to the right people. And there's some fantastic people. I'll mention Anglia Capital Group, brilliant bunch of people, Sally Goodsell, Martin Rigby, some other people who are very, very senior in East of England, who would be able to guide you. And there are grants available to help you get your deck in a decent order. I believe we got some money through the LEP to help us do that. We trained, we pitch trained, we practiced and practiced and practiced again. Go and talk to as many people and ask them to stand in front of them and pitch as many times as you can, because the more succinct you can get it changes every time you pitch it. But ultimately, it will just all click. The more you do it, it'll just click, and it becomes really believable, and you start believing it even more. People buy into you. We constantly question evaluation. It's really hard to put a value on a new technology, especially when you're not necessarily commercializing it. We had plans, like I say, plans of grandeur, and thought we actually got buy-in at a £30 million valuation, and somebody willing to give us £250,000 off the bat, which we thought, okay, well, that's our valuation. We valued it off doing a lot of market research of other similar technologies, but actually. That fell through, as many of these deals tend to. And we came right back to earth and said, no, it wouldn't have been right anyway. Yes, it's great to have that sort of valuation, but it's not sustainable in the future. And you've got to think about not just now, not just the seed round, but the Series A, the Series B, the exit. You've got to almost plan that pathway. And be realistic about it too. There's no harm in saying, okay, well, I'll tell you what, we're not a £30 million company, we're a £2.5 million company. Still very impressive. Let's raise £500,000, which is exactly what we did. Let's raise £500,000 as a seed. And we know that in 2 years' time, when we go for Series A, because £500,000 is going to get us to this point here, this step here, suddenly things are really going to open for us. We're going to have a valuation of between 10 and 15 million. To 20 million, and then it becomes really quite a credible opportunity. But be realistic is all I'm saying. We explored all routes to money, and I'm not saying I don't know what's right for your technology, but personally, I've got we funded everything initially through grants. So grants being KTPs, 2 KTPs, and we got a few other little grants here and there. But that was about £250,000 worth of over maybe 4 years. And then we got to this iteration of the deck and wanted to go out and get some fundraising, £500,000. We were advised to talk to VCs. We did. It wasn't the right fit. We weren't advanced enough at VCs. We've met some fantastic VCs, by the way, and we'll absolutely go that route for Series A. But for seed, for getting that idea off the ground, you want people. It's not necessarily about the money either. It's about people who can bring what to you. Let them sell themselves to you. If they believe in the idea, brilliant. Just work on that relationship. But if they don't, you'll know quickly enough, because they won't waste their time with you. And don't be offended by that. They get hundreds of pictures all the time. VCs wasn't right for us at this stage. It is for next stage, Series A. So we ultimately went the angels route. Okay, and we got some fantastic commitments from those guys, and met some really, really interesting people who have been in the VC space, funny enough, and made an awful lot of money and have an awful lot of contacts, and are perhaps, just looking to extend their network further and get involved in something, in the next big thing. Everyone's looking for the next big thing, but these people are absolutely turned on to the idea. But crowdfunding, I would absolutely advise to go and talk to Crowdcube too. They've been brilliant. We haven't launched on Crowdcube. We were going to, but we decided against it, only for the reason that you have to have a cornerstone investment of around about a third to a half of the money you're looking for. But you can raise, I'd say, seed up to about £500,000 or quite easily on crowdfunding, if the opportunity is right, and also use it as a business development tool. Give people, give the investors, the retail investors, a deal, if you like. So very, very quickly, I just want to show you where we got to now, and which is a really exciting. I'm very proud of this point. Got a long way to go still. Excuse the lip sync, it's only because it's embedded in PowerPoint. But here we go.
I'm VirtTuri, a next-generation digital human assistant and a combination of patented machine learning and avatar technologies. I deliver consistent responses at scale, and once trained, I average 95% accuracy. Visually, I can reflect multiple ethnicities, ages, and genders, as well as speak multiple languages if required. I am already being utilized by multinational brands, as well as preparing for deployment into the NHS, easing the patient pathway across a range of key health-related topics. Right now, my primary purpose is to help reduce the cost of scaled information delivery, whilst improving patient and consumer education and engagement. It is important to note that whilst I'm not human, my creators are pioneering robust ethical guidelines around the use of hyper-realistic avatars. Whenever you see the VirtTuri watermark avatar icon in the bottom right, it denotes that I am not a real person. My future is exciting.
Okay, I appreciate I've gone over time here, so I'm going to whiz through this. We've got a really exciting future to look forward to, multiple deployments into the NHS. We're looking at rare disease and looking at health insurance and pharma markets. We are expanding overseas, expanding the technical team, really interested in talking to data scientists, full stack developers, expanding our IP and working towards a Series A in 2023. Thank you so much. That's it. So I rushed the end there. I appreciate I've gone over time a little bit.
Hey, there's a lot to cover there. I don't know why I can't see my video. So, no, I mean, it's such a rich story, and and thank you for coming and talking again. And I know, as you said, you recently spoke at our healthcare event, actually. I mean, what strikes me with what really strikes me about VirtTuri and about the kind of Orbital Global Group is how effectively and sort of persistently you've gone out and tapped into all of these programs. Really, you mentioned kudos, credibility, kudos and credibility, but also with investors. Presumably, that really helps. And I guess just before we hand over. How do you do it? How do you find the time to do it? Do you find that it's a good investment of time overall to be really looking into all these programs, or can it sometimes become a little bit of a distraction from actually, building the product and selling the product?
Yeah, it's a good question, Tim. This is why I come right back to what I said is the focus. Focus on one problem to solve, not the whole world's problems. And the smaller you can make the problem, the more actually you'll find partners that will get it and support you in that, and champion you in the early days. It's so easy to try and run before you can walk. So really focus on that. I mean, we're quite lucky. We've got a fantastic team. Our team are multi-talented in that they have to wear multi-hats every day. So they know the big opportunity with VirtTuri, and they're incentivized to make it happen. But they also have a day job to do as well. So everyone's doing stuff on the fly and for nothing essentially, but it's for a bigger opportunity in the end of it.
Okay, well, great talk, and Hayden, thanks again. So I'm now going to ask Laura to come onto the virtual stage, you know, there was a key, I think, a key part of that presentation was talking about, you know, the importance and the relationship, if you're trying to innovate, of grant funding, possibly right at the beginning, but also as you go through that journey of different talk. And Laura is here from Norfolk County Council to talk a little bit, hopefully, about what is on offer, what's been on offer to Hayden and the team, but what's on offer for other businesses in the region. Laura.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Tim and Hayden. My name's Laura Hill, and I work for Norfolk County Council as the project manager of the Innovation Grant Mentoring Project. The project was set up at the end of last year to offer support to businesses across Norfolk and Suffolk, as we could see that, as Hayden was saying, that we can help businesses link into to funding such as Innovate UK. Innovate UK, excuse me, can really help businesses access innovation funding and drive businesses on. So the project was set up to be able to support businesses access this funding, and also have support from our mentors and coaches. So the project, we have an expert panel of mentors and coaches on our project, and they offer support. I'll just share see if I can share my slides with you.
Yeah, we can see those now.
Fantastic. Sorry, I was having some problems at the beginning getting those through. I had a bit of a unstable internet connection, but I think that's come through now. So I'll start properly now, excuse me. So the vision of the project is to help businesses across Norfolk and Suffolk increase the success within innovation funding, and from schemes such as Innovate UK. Innovation funding from the likes of Innovate UK can really help research and develop a new process or idea for businesses, and test their innovation ideas through having that additional funding support. And it can really help accelerate the innovation and drive businesses into their investment. So what the Innovation Grant Mentoring Project is all about, really, we have we run free workshops and webinars, and we run those webinars every 6 to 8 weeks, and they're all around innovation funding. And we have our mentors and coaches who are on those webinars, along with myself, giving more generic advice really on how to access innovation funding. And then if you apply to the project, we can potentially can apply for bespoke support through mentoring and our bid coaches as well. And we have up to 20 hours of mentoring and up to 35 hours of bid coaching available from our mentors and coaches. Our mentors and coaches have been through the innovation funding process, either applying for companies applying on behalf of companies as bid coaches, and understand how difficult some of the application forms can be. So they can help guide businesses on how to put those together. Our mentors have been through the process of innovation funding, know the challenge, know the benefits, but also the challenges and the pitfalls involved in that. And they can help guide you along the right route for your business, and support you in that journey through the hours we have free on this project to be able to support businesses within Norfolk and Suffolk. As I said, we have 20 hours of support free on the mentoring and 35 hours on the big coaching. So it's a good number of hours to help work with businesses through this process, which coming into innovation funding, it may be something you don't know anything about and want guidance on how to access it, because often we find businesses come to us going, I know about Innovate UK, but I don't quite know how to get there. Where do I start? There are so many different organisations who have innovation funding available potentially, and there are so many competitions. What do I do? Where do I start? Some people may go into innovation funding, see a competition through Innovate UK, which closes maybe next week, and look to try and apply for that. And because innovation funding, it's such an opportunity, but it's also a really difficult process. You really need to spend time preparing your bid, perhaps even before the competitions are advertised. Working with our mentors and coaches in preparing you prior to that application process is really important. So this project is all about supporting businesses in Norfolk and Suffolk with the free support. And our mentors, they have gained so much through innovation funding. They're really wanting to pass that knowledge on to help the success of future businesses within Norfolk and Suffolk. So our project, who's it for? Well, it's available to Norfolk and Suffolk SMEs from any sector. And it might be a business that has had innovation support before through innovation funding, and we're looking to apply for a future competition, or it might be to businesses who are completely new to innovation funding, or it might be that businesses have applied for innovation funding before, haven't been unsuccessful. Don't be deterred. It is a difficult process to go through, and we can help you achieve success through our experts on our programme. So as I've sort of already touched on, just to get the support we have available through our mentor workshops and bid writing workshops, and then by application, you can apply for the bespoke support on the project from our mentors and coaches. So just to conclude, as I know we're sort of coming up on time. So the Innovation Grant Mentoring Project, if you're interested in innovation funding, it might be you haven't found a competition you want to apply for as yet. We'd really urge you to come and speak to us. I've got the details of our webpage where you can register or find out more information on this slide, and also our email address. Please don't feel you have to have found a competition you want to apply for before approaching us. We'd much rather that businesses approach us before they've got to that point. We can discuss the merits of innovation funding with you, and see whether your ideas would fit and whether you are eligible for the free bespoke mentoring and coaching from the project. So please do get in touch. Or look out for our webinars as well, which will be advertising. We've got another one coming up towards the end of November, which I'll be advertising the details of shortly, so look out for that and come and join us, and see some of the experts we've got on our project. The mentors and coaches we've got, are fantastic. I'm really proud that we've got those involved in our project, and obviously we were very pleased when we launched the project at the end of last year that Peter and Hayden from Orbital were so supportive on the setup of this project, and have really helped us in the startup and helped us promote the project to businesses across Norfolk and Suffolk. So now we're just getting the word out that this free support is available. If you're considering innovation funding, I'd really urge you to get in touch with us, and we'll see if we can help you in that journey to hopefully improve your chances of success through your application. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, I think you got it absolutely right. You know, it's not a straightforward process always getting these grants. You know, even the application process can be very time consuming, and you know there are do's and don'ts. And I think it's been wonderful to see this program come together, because it was a definite missing link in around the innovation landscape. And as I say, you've shared some contact details. Do get in touch with Laura and the team to find out more. And although I don't want to add to Hayden's to-do list, I'm sure that Hayden or Peter Brady at Orbital would also act as sort of advocates if you're interested in whether the program's right for you. So thank you very much, Laura.